In the quiet street of an inner-city parish, a dog showed me round the back of a church, pointed with its nose to where the choice scraps are found. Watched by no one in particular, we poked around the in-between spaces, focus inward, downward. We were not alone. Voices reached from history, hissing like gas from the solid matter of the building. I'd been here before. The past is a book read too closely, and knowledge is weight. The wise dog prefers to remain groping through the present. He had a story, the old one, early years of homebound comfort, then boredom and the acrid dawn of dissatisfaction. So the dog went internal. No more chasing cars, stopped inviting tummy tickles, interest in bones, deprogrammed. The gourmand vanquished by the self. No dazzle left in fancy food scraps. He even renounced meat, difficult for a dog. Others reckoned it was age. He says no, he made his own decisions. The renunciations were as important as the actions, maybe more. Then that phase came to an end and things became interesting, apparently, but there the story stopped, right at the point of revelation. He poured a plastic bag and I felt the silence come down like a curtain. And in that silence, I understood that it was time to back out, delicately carrying the taint of my own thoughts from his sanctuary. In the street, my vision spiraled outwards, taking in the house facades, the lined faces of the people, the hope of rain sewn into the unreadable fabric of the clouds. Painful news about the environment, no water, an end to fish in 50 years. The dog community seemed like good company for a soggy Saturday. They may, after all, survive us as a species. The next one to cross my path was a mutt that chased my taxi. I admired his pluck. He wasn't as worldly as my first interlocutor, but he had soul around the eyes and the shape of his head, a trace of the young Travolta. To my surprise, I felt stirrings. He was male. He was also Maltese, not my usual type on either count, but he had a lilting voice hard to turn away from. It spoke of craggy, distant cliffs, nocturnal feasts, and the wine-dark sea. More news. Baz Luhrmann is casting livestock to appear in his new film. There are opportunities for dogs, too. A featured part with heroic yelping, and who knows how many non-barking roles. Sounds good, but any dogs out there, I have to warn you about this. I've worked in films, and I know the lure of the glamour. I know it well, and I know there's a price. First of all, there's the downtime. You just sit around in the heat for the longest time, which is very hard to reconcile with being a show business dog. Then there's the career path. I knew a dog that had been down that road, starting with Tropfest. He got an agent, landed bit parts in Ellie Brandy, Water Rats, some TV commercials. Those of you in the industry can see where this is going. 2 words: Wolf Creek. We've been talking about one-off dogs, loners, mavericks, Ronin. For dog truth, you have to get into the community to experience all of the manifestations of canine being. You may remember the bond of brotherhood in the famous poster images, the bad dogs in the 1930s pool hall, cigarillos and armbands, or the police lineup roster, all dogs. That's the joke version of a deep truth, that dogs are, as a group, wise. I don't think I've ever spent time with beings more attuned to the balance between skeletal structure and the limitations of their inner organs. And not all dogs are the same. There are also outsiders. Some are quite ill, mangy, itching, hopping about on paralytic paws. Therefore, there must be healers among them, administering a sequence of growls, barks, and what seem like stretching instructions. They seem to give relief to the lame. I've seen it myself at the pound. And at the pound, I found a dog choir. What at first seemed like random, asynchronous exclamations revealed itself as music. But humans spoilt it all, distracting the dogs with their own names given by humans, stirring the pack into a frenzy that had little to do with dogness and everything to do with mob fear and anger. I wondered about these humans, and I thought about switching teams, wandering over the species line when nobody was watching. Another dog at the pound changed all that. Shandy, who you've met before. Female Kelpie, aged about 4, according to the sign on her cage. She parsed the world with her tail and her muzzle, made me see I'd been projecting human characteristics. A few minutes with her, and it was all too clear. I was in denial of the essence of dogs, and beyond that, the singularity of each dog. That idea of community, my own bullshit concept. Anthropocentric, illuminating only that which I wished for myself. There was only this dog, this moment, this scent, and this urge. and beyond that all, one fragmentary act of a possible billion action paths. I knew this truth because Shandy had sung it. Rocking back on her haunches, she howled the verses of an ancient dog poet, lines and refrains that led deeper and further than language itself. It was almost a purr at first, and I could barely distinguish it from the ambient clamour, but reaching into some place invisible to me, she worked it up into a heartfelt yodel. And when the song was done, I was in a world of different coordinates, different understandings. I had not just heard the melody of a new universe, I had a gift to share. Then, as Buddha took his preaching to the park, I went to market to convince the masses, to expose the moneylenders and to render the virgins unto me. Pathetic, trapped people, they saw me in a cage, but they were the caged ones. I had a story to tell, and I would lead them out. It was the dogs who did me in, skeptical dogs, critical dogs. And of course there were people, skeptical people and critical people. And both camps had clearly been talking. Nobody there was interested in my truth. I was angry. There was no turning back to the world I'd known. I had a glimpse into that other world, and I could sense the cool light, the radiance, but I could not get in. It was not my time and not my fate. A holy saint found me weeping and understood my anger, offered me the cool water of sacred verses, gave me license to imagine a weapon in my hand. There was a moment when I could have used that weapon, in the pound, in the market of godless temptation, angry about the abuses of the powerful and seething with righteous indignation. I could have worked myself into a fit and plunged a knife or thrown a bomb somewhere that hurt, in the world of dogs or people. And so, dear listener, could you. In the afternoon at cocktail hour, all things become momentarily clear. It was not dogs that had made me angry, nor did dogs make me wise. These were merely chance encounters. The rest of the day was spent without them. I remembered them fondly, but they did not obscure the city or the game. There is no dog, and I am not his prophet. But tomorrow it begins again. A chance encounter, a whiff of scent, and I will chase another whirling hubcap, a projection of my own desire.